In many countries and large cities, we are experiencing a worsening housing crisis. Mission Future asked many experts who named 6 main drivers. 1. The rising interest rates for real estate. 2. A drastic increase in construction costs. 3. The restrictive designation of building land by the responsible municipalities. 4. Bureaucracy hinders new constructions. 5. Real estate investments no longer profitable enough. 6. Too few affordable social housing units. How can the state create affordable housing for its citizens when housing is becoming increasingly expensive and construction is almost unaffordable? We looked around the world for best practices. 2 Golden Global champions impressed us most: social housing in Singapore and Vienna. In addition, we discovered many creative and effective new ideas from innovative countries like the Netherlands and Denmark. Let's look at Singapore first. The state and city of Singapore is isolated on an island, bordering Malaysia to the south, covering only 720 square kilometers. With independence from colonial ruler Great Britain in 1963 and the subsequent separation from Malaysia in 1965, founding Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew was forced to design and quickly implement a fresh development concept for the new city-state. Without natural resources, with a shortage of drinking water, high unemployment, a housing shortage, and social tensions between the dominant Chinese and the native Malays. Its only assets are its hard-working people and its good location as an international port and trading hub. Lee Kuan Yew concentrated on rapid economic development, such as oil refineries, the expansion of the dominant port, foreign investors, and the planning of a modern city and peaceful, diverse society. His state concept was revolutionary and extremely successful, English as a universal and global language. He consistently fought corruption, including by paying civil servants and ministers 10 times more than usual. A strict anti-drug policy, as well as law and order. Lee Kuan Yew paid particular attention to building a new harmonious society. He focused on education and social housing as the 2 most important catalysts. Here, Singapore is #1 globally today. My prime preoccupation was to give every citizen a stake in the country and its future. I wanted a home-owning society, he said. Singapore grew rapidly and needed more and more living space. From 1.7 million in 1960 to 2.7 million in 1970, 5.1 million in 2010, and 5.7 million in 2020. That's a factor of 3.4. The GDP per capita, USD, rose from 428 in 1960 to 7,000 in 1985, 47,237 in 2010, and 58,500 in 2020, a factor of 137. In just 51 years, it reached the GDP per capita of the USA. The independent state started with the burden of a housing crisis. Many people were living in unhygienic slums and crowded squatter settlements. Lee Kuan Yew founded the Housing Development Board, HDB, in 1960 to build as many low-cost housing units as possible so that all Singaporeans could live in decent, safe, and sanitary housing. To solve Singapore's housing crisis, HDB built in less than 3 years 21,000 flats. 2 years later, that number was 54,000. Within a brief span of 10 years, HDB built enough flats for the Singaporeans and resolved the housing crisis. Today, this institution provides a stable public housing market, serving all different profiles of buyers with different choices of housing options and subsidies for every budget and need. Financial planning advice for home purchase. Today, 6 million people live in Singapore, including 2.4 million foreigners. Foreigners can use the free real estate market only. Now 80% of the 3.6 million Singaporean citizens live in subsidized public housing units. Only they are allowed to buy or rent these apartments. 90% of them buy and own their homes for 99 years, 10% rent. The Responsible Governmental Housing Development Board, HDB, built 1.2 million flats in just 60 years, 25,000 new in 2025. Organized in 24 local towns and 3 estates. Its mission? Home ownership is a cornerstone and key social compact of our society. It is made accessible and affordable for the majority. This is based on a 99-year lease concept, supported by the state with loans. They can sell or transfer to their children. Ethnic and social groups are deliberately mixed in the buildings to strengthen community life. The core of housing policy is citizen ownership, not subsidizing lower rents, as is the case with social housing in most Western countries. Singapore stands for a tenant as owner model. This made the Singapore model unique and the most successful social housing project in the world. Another global best practice is the more socialist rent model in Vienna in Austria. It started 100 years ago. 2 million people live Austria's capital city, Vienna. 80% live in rented accommodation. Only 20% are homeowners. The city has 973,000 apartments. Half of these are single households. There is a large pool of 420,000 social housing units. That is 43% of all apartments. 60% of the population lives in them. The social housing consists of two equally sized blocks, 220,000 municipal apartments owned by the city of Vienna. In addition, there are another 200,000 apartments managed by various non-profit cooperatives. Between 5,000 and 7,000 social housing units are built each year. With its gentle urban renewal program, the city allocates funds for the renovation of private apartments, which can then only be rented at capped rents for 15 years. Vienna is the largest and most successful model of rented social housing. We need a revolution in social housing, all achievable if we have the will and want to actively shape a better future. Using the know-how of the Golden Global champions and quick implement those best practices in your city. Details in our action proposal housing. For more details, please visit our missionfuture.com AI and join our Golden Global champions in social housing.